3, 2, 1. Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are back in Vermont. Now, surely you guys are like, whoa, what are we doing in Vermont, Spartan? What are we doing? It's simple. I'm testing out the new commander, Takanashi Hoshino, on the new Vermont. So, let's take a look at her. Obviously, we've got Palo de Revel, Colorado on here, maximizing reload. We've got our Flammable Cannoneer, Dance with Death, Megalomania, and Master Mechanic, as well as fully packed. We do not get fight fire with this build, so be careful when it comes to damage controls. You're going to have to pay attention, okay? Don't waste your damage controls on, fixing turrets and that sort of thing, okay? Something I got to work on myself. But her base trait, for those of you who don't remember, her base trait is Battleship main battery reload minus 3%. Main battery survivability has increased, so getting rid of the ability for the guns to be knocked out a little bit easier. And then rudder shift time is also reduced. If this isn't just screaming Vermont, I don't know what is. And so I had to test it out. Had to. So with that being said, the rest of our build is pretty straightforward. Main battery mod 2 to get our traverse speed increased. We've got our steering gears mod 2. We've got concealment system mod. You could obviously run propulsion mod if you want. I personally go for steering gears. And honestly, since we're going to go without fight fire with fire, running damage control wouldn't necessarily be the worst thing you've ever done in this situation. But I still think that steering gears is better because you want to be using the Dreadnought Shuffle to get all your guns, or at least wiggle to get front guns, rear guns, front guns, rear guns. That way you can maximize your guns. But we are using the legendary artillery plotting room. So that means for every one kill, we get an extra 5% of damage during, or up to 10% total, up to be 25% more damage if we kill 5 people. Main battery dispersion is decreased by 10%, but also 2% for every 30,000 damage you do. So that gives us up to a 20% reduction in main battery dispersion, which is insane when you've got 12 18-inch guns going downrange. Now, this commander is going to get Vermont nerfed. I'm just saying it right now. This commander is going to get Vermont nerfed. It's too good. So, with that being said, I mean, let's be honest. At this point, do we even need to say it? Let's get to the gameplay. Alright, so have you ever heard the term mutually assured destruction? This is what that looks like when it comes to World of Warships Legends. You have a Schlieffen, full health, coming in, YOLOing into torpedo me. In order to get his second set of torpedoes off, he has to get all of the broadside. He's gonna torpedo me, I'm gonna die. It's unfortunate, but he's coming with me. So, just thought I'd start out by showing you that little clip, that it was kind of funny to me. But, yeah, it's not a good trade, man. I mean, in that game, it ended up, they still lost that game, by the way. We ended up winning. But I took out a battleship right before that. It was Marlborough's, low health, wasn't that big a deal. And then I took out that guy. But, yeah, I knew he was coming. That would have been one of those times where I wish I had propulsion mod, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes steering gears bite you in the butt. That was one of those times. But we're going to push out. We're on Tears of the Desert. We spawned left. We've got everything you could ever ask for. We've got a destroyer and a Des Moines as an escort. That is, like, perfect. Okay, now the destroyer is a Shima, not the greatest, but it is sneaky, capable of spotting and overwhelming a flank with torpedoes. So it could be very, very good. But we're going to try to push to the left side and try to help this side as best we can. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. There's going to be a couple of moments I'm going to point out that you guys may disagree with, but I'm going to show it anyway because it needs to be talked about. There's something that I talk about a lot in this game is winning your side, holding your side, and recognizing when you have the advantage. And that is something a lot of people simply don't do. And that is one of the things that's going to kind of annoy me early in this game. Now, it's fine. Everything works out eventually, but it's one of those things where it's like, why? Why, though? Now, pay attention to what's going on. First of all, I've got a battleship spawning mid. He is coming all the way across from the middle of the map to come to the left. We have 2 cruisers, a battleship, and a destroyer. Okay? Instead of having you come over to the middle, from the middle to the left, why don't you just turn right, go over and help that side? You know, make those kinds of decisions. People don't ever do that. Like, weigh what you have on one flank versus the other flank and try to help the weak flank if you spawn middle. That's what I usually do. But Zhao comes up, gets spotted. He's in the middle of the map, or in behind the island. Shocker. Tulsa, however, is absolutely begging for it, and I'm never going to pass up the opportunity to shoot a American heavy cruiser as it comes and goes broadside. But unfortunately, this time he's actually paying attention. He stops his turn and just bow tanks. It's still going to hit him, and we're still going to do 12,000 damage to him, almost. But still, he lives, and that's the important thing. And he's going to be a problem for the next couple of minutes because of that. Now, pay attention to what happened. Our Des Moines moves forward, radars, beautiful. He knew the destroyer was in a cap. We all did. So, goes forward, spots the destroyer with the radar, and the Schroeder secondaries are able to take him out. Des Moines doesn't get himself torpedoed. He knew what was coming, but he doesn't get himself torpedoed. He plays smart. Now, I'm not going to lie. This next shot annoys me. This shot should be a death trade. Yes, I know it's auto-aimed. He's on the backside of the island. There's nothing else I can do about this, but we get the shot out, and I'm expecting him to explode. We get 1 overpin. They all went high. That is sadness. Now, if I'd have waited, I could have killed him right there, but still. That is sadness. Every one of those shells went high. Now, I don't know if that was because auto-aim ended up a little bit high that time or if it was just bad RNG, but either way, it wasn't ideal. I think we can all agree on that. Now, Zhao makes a critical error. Instead of using the island to stay safe, he comes out. He's used to being able to tank some shots, but he's got 30 millimeters everywhere, and I have 457 millimeter guns, which means I overmatch his 30 millimeters everywhere. So there's no angling that he can do to this. So when he comes out, even though he tried to angle, these shells are still going to find their mark, right? They just ignore 30 millimeters everywhere. But Tulsa's about to come around the corner, and anybody with a half a brain knows what he's trying to do. He's trying to ram. Now, I tried to cut the ram off because that's why I rushed this shot. I'm like, okay, I know he's going to try to ram. The Schroeder, I think, knows he's trying to ram, but he ends up taking a little while too long to get in reverse. This is the moment where I start to get frustrated. I do help the guy. The Tulsa is coming around the corner. Should be an easy kill. Now, how the f does this Tulsa live longer than he should? Like, I get it. Watch this next shot. He's got less than 15k hit points. I've got 3 shells coming in his direction. And 2 of them find their mark. And he lives. There was no overpin there. That was straight up right through. Now here, I shoot the rear guns and completely miss him. And then the front guns, I fire at the Iwami. And of course, in Iwami, 21,000 damage with a Citadel. Like, why does the game protect bad players? Like, that Tulsa has done nothing smart this entire time. He's played around with fire. He should be dead. And the other thing is, the Zhao. Like, the Zhao literally lived, and why? A, our battleship is still not in range to actually be useful. I mean, he's not being able to do anything. He's sailed all the way from the other side of the map to come over to this map, or this side. We're punching the crap out of this Iwami. But the other thing is, like, the Des Moines. Like, when you recognize you have the advantage, just come out. There's no reason. Now, Schroeder overextends here. He's going to push up, and he's not only having to deal with the Iwami. Pay attention to the minimap, folks. Like, you know that there are other people in this game, right? Like, it's not just one ship. And we all get tunnel vision. I call myself out for it all the time. We all get tunnel vision. But you got to pay attention to who's got your crossfire, right? Like, we all want to push up. And this is a big thing for secondary ships, too. But to his credit, the Schroeder doesn't continue to chase. Probably because he just got smacked by that freaking Montana. You can see I'm trying to look to see if I can lob the island. I'm trying to, like, put a shot out. Now, I know I'm spotted by the Destroyer and D right now. So I'm, like, worried that I'm going to start getting shot from the Montana. Iwami's not really that big of a threat to me. Sure, he could potentially torpedo, but he's not really a threat. But watch this. I'm preparing for this next shot, right? Just as we're about to get the shot, I'm like, ooh, here we go. Let's go ahead, use one of our heals. We get 6 of them. And then just as he's about to come around the corner, boop. None other than our Shimakaze, the guy that charged all the way out to the left corner of the map, decides, instead of staying out where he can spot, decides to dip in behind us, and now he's doing nothing for nobody. Again, not hating, just pointing out things that I see during a match that drive me bonkers. Like, you have the ability to spot. Stay in a position where you can spot. Alright? There's no reason for him to double back across the team to go into the center of the map. We've got a destroyer over there. We've got a cruiser over there. We've got the Des Moines here. There's no reason for him to do that. He should have just maintained his loop around the left flank and just been there. I'm not saying he has to chase the Montana, but he keeps him spotted, and the rest of us can shoot the Montana. But that's team play, right? That's hard for people to comprehend. But Montana gets a pretty decent shot at us. We get a pretty crappy shot at him. The enemy destroyer is taking off, running across the map, and this is another thing. Des Moines. He's going to try to HE spam this Montana. He's at maximum range right now, right? But this is what cruiser players do. They look for the battleship. They're like, I'll shoot the battleship. There's a low health freaking destroyer right there in the open that anybody shoots him, he dies. We got 2 destroyers. One of them can't shoot him. The other one could potentially, maybe. I don't know if he's got enough gun range, but he's right there. So I'm like, okay, well, I can't shoot him. He's going behind the island. So do I have to be the one to do everything? The answer, of course, is always yes. Just like in Farm Sim, if you want something done right, you gotta do it yourself. Plain and simple. As much as we love our teammates, at the end of the day, you can't rely on teammates to be amazing, right? Like, you expect teammates to be able to do, you know, the basic stuff, but most people just simply don't even know what the basics are. Right? Wargaming doesn't explain it. There aren't like in-game tutorials to teach people. Yeah, sure, there's tutorials all over the internet, but most people aren't going to the internet and look for it. Right? So we can't rely on our teammates to do stuff like that. Paying attention to the mini-map, paying attention to prioritizing targets. That's another thing. Prioritizing targets. Like, who is the priority, right? If you've got a destroyer spotted that's low health that can be taken out, or just in general, you got a destroyer spotted. Now, Montana gets caught here. This is why we were holding our fire, because we knew that he would do it, right? They all do. He can't kite away forever. He's going to eventually run into the border, so he's going to eventually turn back. And when he does, I've got all my guns ready. So we've managed to take all of this Montana's health, right? And look at speaking of Worcester's out there spamming HE from 18 kilometers away. He can't hit a Vermont. Put that into perspective, right? Now, we get our shot off. Our battleship finally hit something behind us. He finally got a little bit of damage. But unfortunately for him, he left him with just enough for me to get the kill. Which, let's be honest, I earned. Now, I take the shot at the Worcester. He wasn't expecting another set of guns, and unfortunately, just one shot. Like, that's going to be the theme with this Worcester, though. As we try to push in, he can't hit us. He literally can't hit us. This is why these HE spammy cruisers going full kite mode, it doesn't work, man. I don't care who the, like, originator of the thought of just going full agile build and going all the way out to the borders is, but it's not going to work. You're putting yourself out of position. You're never going to be able to use your radar to help your team. You're never going to be able to be in a position where you can be useful to your team when you're this far away from the enemy. Right? Now, this time, he gets very lucky to not be removed straight up right there. We caught him. He was turning in. Again, he's going to have to turn in eventually, right? But he gets very lucky. We had bad RNG on that one. He could have easily been sent to the Shadow Realm there. But the grouping was terrible on that shot. Now, here, he's right at the edge of my range as well. Like, I only have 19.1 kilometers of range with this build. So he's on the edge of my range, and as soon as I fire, you may have noticed that his guns rotated back towards me. He was looking to see if my direction, because I wasn't getting spotted, but he can see the shells when they come up over the island that there are shells on the way. Maybe he's also running the perk that lets him see when people are aiming or shooting at him, like the incoming fire or whatever. But watch this next part. We're paying attention. We know that the GK is around the corners, low health. We aim for the back of the GK with just the front guns, and then we turn the rear guns around to take shots at the Worcester. Now, with the GK gone, we don't have to worry about anything in terms of giving our broadsides up other than catching torpedoes if we're not careful. But I thought that the Worcester was dead on this one, I'm not going to lie. But he gets out of the way just enough and slows down just enough that those shells pass just in front of him, off to the right. But as he starts to turn back towards us, this time I don't think I lead him quite enough. But again, this is one of the downsides of the Vermont. The Vermont has very slow shells. If I'm hitting you at these kinds of ranges, you're being too predictable. Like, if you're kiting to the edge of the map and you're still being sniped by a Vermont, like you probably, and there's his first times he's hit us, right? But watch what happens next. Again, prioritizing targets, right? I know that the Worcester's about to go down, but Z-52 comes up, so we shoot a gun at the Z-52, fully confident that I'm going to kill him. He has no health. We finish him off, and I was sure that this is Dev Strike City, right? Or not Dev Strike, but Double Strike City. We get the shot over the island. It is beautiful! And unfortunately, we only hit with 3, and a couple of those shells hit his gun and knocked his gun out, so it didn't do any damage. That is so unfortunate that I can't even believe it. But our other battleship buddy, or cruiser, somebody is going to get a shot at him. Does a decent chunk of damage on him, and then we place the shot right over the bow. He's only got one place he can go, right? He's either going to beach or he's going to sail right into these shells, and there ain't nothing he can do about it. And we place the shot on the money, and down he goes. But I thought that was a fun game. I thought you guys would like this. If you guys are enjoying the new commanders, like I said, I've got a video that I'm contemplating making about the new commanders and Wargaming's little bit of susness. But over 3K base, 177,000, 4 kills, Vermont sailing across the map. It's not that bad, guys, I'm telling you. The longer the Vermont's in the game and the more they keep throwing these crazy commanders in here, you're gonna see the Vermont get nerfed. I can almost guarantee it, because these commanders are making Vermont spicy. Not quite PC levels of spicy, but spicy. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, and if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.